Our final recipe is tuna Palermo, tuna fish Palermo style, serving 4. Ingredients are 4 6-ounce servings tuna loin, 1 cup or 8 ounces dry white wine, 2 tablespoons or 1 ounce fresh lemon juice, 1 sprig rosemary, fresh, 2 garlic cloves minced. For basting, 1/2 cup or 4 ounces olive oil, 3 oil-packed sardine fillets. For the garnish, 2 cups or 4 ounces fresh arugula, 1/2 cup or 4 ounces lemon segments, 1/2 cup or 2 ounces julienne red radish, 1/4 cup or 2 ounces olive oil, and fresh black pepper to taste.
Okay, the next dish we're going to prepare is a wonderful dish from Sicily, actually from the city of Palermo. And this is really a traditional dish of that area that we're just going to present with a little side salad that's an interpretation using some of the ingredients and flavors that are in the dish. And we have some beautiful tuna, really nice. You want to use great quality tuna on this dish because you really don't want to cook it all the way. Depending on where you're at in Italy, they might serve the tuna cooked all the way, but our interpretation here is we're going to not fully cook the tuna. We'll leave it medium rare, medium. We have a little white wine, lemon juice, some rosmarino, some chopped garlic, and that's all we're going to marinate this tuna in. Very simple. The second part of the recipe we're going to do some extra virgin olive oil and some anchovies. And actually what we're going to do with this is very simple. We're going to heat some olive oil, some anchovies, mash it together, and we're going to make a basting sauce. We're going to baste the tuna as it cooks for the few minutes to add a little richness from salty and rich flavor from the anchovies. And then just a little side accompaniment, some really fresh flavors to go with this are some really nice arugula. And we're going to use lemon, and instead of just dressing with lemon juice, we have some lovely little lemon segments. And for some nice crunch, flavor, and little color, here we're going to have some radish that's going to go really nicely with this. One of the things in Sicily, what you might find instead of arugula would be dandelion greens. Oftentimes you'll see people out on the side of the road picking dandelion greens and using them in a salad or as an accompaniment. So what we want to do is just mix some of the ingredients for the marinade. We're going to take some of the white wine. We're going to have about a cup of white wine. The lemon juice. And the garlic. We're going to take some of the rosemary, and we're just going to give it a little rough chop and pull the rosemary against the grain, against how it goes. Highly recommend visiting Sicily if you ever get the chance. It's wonderful, the diversity there between the city of Palermo, the coastal towns, and Mount Etna. It's amazing the diversity that a little island has. And the cuisine is wonderful. The people are really friendly. The weather's nice. One of the things that struck me when I was traveling throughout Sicily was coming upon prickly pear farms. I was amazed on the sides of these hills, particularly around Mount Etna, that you come upon cactuses in rows being cultivated and a lot of prickly pear fruit being grown. And a lot of prickly pear fruit, a lot of citrus fruits grown on Sicily, so lemon is prominent, a lot of blood orange. Blood orange would be a great addition to this dish. Substitute the lemon with blood orange and it would be wonderful. And so I'm just going to mix up these ingredients. It's really pretty simple. The thing with this is it's highly acidic. You don't want to leave the fish in there too long. It's going to cook. You might want to do about 20 minutes. And so we'll put that in the fridge. You know, or put ice under it, do something to keep it cold. I have one here that has been marinating, and you can see how the acid has started to actually cook, just like in a ceviche. Turn the color of the flesh. Okay, so we're going to let that sit for a minute. And I'm going to prepare our basting mixture of olive oil and anchovies back here. And we're going to cook this on a griddle, which I have preheating. We don't want it too hot, but we want it hot enough. So I'm going to just heat some olive oil. And with this, it's important not to heat your olive oil too much. We don't want to destroy the integrity of flavor of the extra virgin olive oil with the heat. We just want to warm it enough to extract the flavors and fuse the flavors of the anchovy and the olive oil together. Yeah, okay. And as I mentioned in previous recipes with the anchovies, what's really preferable to do with the anchovies is first to rinse them, and then if you'll soak them in milk for about 30 minutes, it really softens the flavor of the anchovy and makes it a really mild, nice flavor and not an overpowering flavor. And so I recommend doing that really with most of your recipes that you're going to use anchovies in. Okay, and the idea with this is not to make our tuna taste like anchovy. We're just enhancing the flavor. We're adding another dimension to the flavor of the tuna and the citrus and the rosemary. Okay, so this is getting hot. My anchovies are pretty much broken down. I can smell it coming together, the olive oil and the anchovy. You know, on this step too, if you really wanted to, you could throw your rosemary, a sprig in there and infuse it. I can leave this in here, or if I want, I can take some of it out. Might be a little easier to work with the ramekin. Check the griddle if we got any sizzle. We do have some sizzle. Looks like it's good. So we're going to come. What I'm going to do is baste the side of my tuna a little bit. Then I'm going to put down. This. Bring a clean dish over. And you're just going to baste the tuna a couple times. Make sure to stir up and get some of the anchovy. Okay. Now I didn't salt the tuna because of the saltiness of the anchovy. You can salt and pepper it, but I think you'll find that you achieve the saltiness, the level of salt you're looking for with the basting of the anchovy oil. So we're going to give that a couple minutes and let it grill nicely, get some nice marks on that, and I'm going to just assemble the little garnish that we're going to put with this dish. And as I mentioned, we are going to take some lemon along with the juice. I'm going to take some of the radish. Could also use something like a cucumber in this. Like I mentioned, blood orange would be wonderful in this. Some smaller pieces of arugula. Make sure you don't have any stem. This has been picked and cleaned pretty nicely. The little bitter green always really acts as a nice counterpoint to like a really luscious piece of fish like tuna. You know, it's got that little peppery bite to it. It's really nice. You know, and other things you might possibly could add if you desired might be like a little shaved fennel. But you want to keep it pretty simple. And the smell is really great what's happening right now. I'm going to check on the tuna. Put a little baste. We'll look at the underside, see how it's doing. It's sticking a little, so it's not ready yet. Give it a little bit more time. We need just a little more arugula in our salad. I think we're looking good here. Now I'm not going to toss this till really close to presentation because of the acidity of the lemon wedges. We don't want that to discolor or wilt our arugula. And I just want to show you the radish, how we got them to look like that. It's very simple. It's a nice way to do your apples or pears. If you'll just take your radish, cut thin slices, you can do it with a knife. If you had to do a ton of this, you could do it on a mandolin to this stage. But what I like to do about this, why I like it with apples, I like it with radishes, those kinds of things, because you can still identify what the product is because of the ends of it. And so you cut slices and then just julienne, and you wind up with these really nice pieces. And like I mentioned, works great with apples, pears as well. Okay, let's see if our tuna's loose. It's getting there. It's looking pretty good under there, so we're gonna just turn it, get a little crosshatch, baste it a little bit. So we're getting close. And of course, this could be a dish if you were doing it in a restaurant where you were asking the customer their preference for cooking temperature, whether they'd like it rare, medium, well done, etc. Okay, so we have our salad. A little pepper, not much because the arugula is peppery. A little bit of salt. And just a touch of extra virgin olive oil. So we have really great red, green, and yellow colors. So there you have everything nicely coated with the oil, but it's still light. Check the tuna. Looking good. to baste it. Definitely we have the heat where we need it. On this side I could put just a touch of pepper. You want to be careful with the pepper if you're using high heat. If you're caramelizing and you have the pepper, you might create a little bitterness, so a little better to wait. A little more basting. And get our plate that we're going to serve the tuna on. Okay. Just turn this side. Can test the tuna by touch. It's still nice and soft in the middle, and also the thickness tells us, you know, it's been cooking just maybe 5 minutes. It's really nice and medium rare. So we have our salad. We have caramelization on both sides of the tuna. I'm going to give it one final basting so we have this nice flavor coming through. We could serve the tuna sliced. I tend to like to, in a restaurant setting, serve the fish whole or a piece of meat to retain its moisture, retain its heat by the time it gets to the customer. And but you can make your own choice, but I'm just going to serve it very simply. I'm not going to put the salad underneath it because I really don't want the heat of the fish to wilt the salad. I'm just going to kind of put it next to it, and then the customer can kind of decide how they like to eat it. And, you know, it's kind of like the concept of serving a lemon wedge or something with the fish, where the guest would squeeze the lemon, but here all they have to do is take little bites, little pieces. Just get a little height with our salad. And then I would just do a really nice little bit of this really fresh extra virgin olive oil around there to dip the fish in. And we have our grilled tuna fish Palermo style. Ciao till next time.